others. An audio medium unlike anything you've ever heard before. The pinnacle of sound experience. Jacked and Canned. Featuring John Tessman and Colby Tyler. A place where you will get the information you crave and hear about the topics that you love. Presented by themselves. Coming to you from the basement, bar, and the bedroom. Sponsored by no one. Jacked and Canned.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sports Roundtable with Jacked and Canned. John, how are we doing tonight, buddy?
Doing good, man. I'm excited. I'm hearing some rumors that Vince McMahon is going to be in WrestleMania and he's going to be wrestling Pat McAfee, the former punter.
Yeah, I know who he is. I just have very little interest in the WWE, John. I'm sorry.
Well, dude, I don't watch it either, but I mean, Vince McMahon's like 70-something years old. I definitely have to watch that.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's going to be doing that till he passes away eventually. I mean, I don't know what's going to be the thing that gets him, but wrestling in your 70s is one of the things that they typically don't recommend.
Well, they say that he's in absolutely amazing shape. I just saw a video of him today. He does look great for his age, especially. But apparently, to some outside sources and articles online, the guy is still squatting 450 pounds at his age. I'm like, that is crazy.
Yeah, me too.
You're squatting 450?
No.
Fair enough, Goals, but I'm doing good. I'm doing good with that. Yo, let's kick this off here with a little who's on top. What do you say?
Who's on top?
I love it. It's like a transformer right there. You sounded like a Decepticon, Colbs. I love it. I'm here for it.
Who's
all right, man.
On top.
So we're going to kick off with the division that means the most. Colbs, what is it? It's been a couple of weeks straight here.
Yeah, it's going to be minor league hockey.
AHL, Atlantic Division, the Springfield Thunderbirds sitting on top over there, 28-15. The Hartford Wolfpack sitting at 25-16, 5 OTL, 57 points. North Division, Utica Comets, 31-11. They're kind of running away with it over there, Colbs. Central Division, the Chicago Wolves. We got the Pacific Division. We had the Stockton Heat sitting on top. And, oh, geez, where the heck did the Bridgeport? Oh, honorable mention, like always, Bridgeport Islanders sitting on the bottom at 19-23. Colbs, any takes in the AHL?
No.
The NHL, here we go. Atlantic Division, the Lightning sitting on top over there. 35-11. Colbs, we have the Bruins with an honorable mention over there, sitting at 32-18. Colbs, I don't know if you've been watching hockey at all this year, but the Atlantic Division, it's kind of tight, man.
Yeah, it's a tough division to play in.
Honestly,
the Bruins look like they're going to slide in at a 7th seed at this point. They might even fall to the 8th. They've been kind of kicking between the 7th and 8th spot. So they're going to make it in, but not by a lot.
They're not having like an awful year by any means. It's just tough.
Well, the one hope you can have is that in hockey, it can be totally random, and it's more often the team that makes mistakes that loses, more so than it is the team that's just really good that wins. So if the really good teams make mistakes, you end up winning. I mean, a couple years ago, we saw the Tampa Bay Lightning as a 1 seed get swept in the first round of the playoffs just because hockey's random. So you actually have hope in the NHL being a lower seed. I mean, it's not all about being a top seed in the NHL.
Fair enough. Metropolitan Division, the Hurricanes sitting on top. Hey, shout out there to the Rangers at 34-15. I feel like when I was giving them a shout out, they always are holding strong. They might be doing it because of this podcast. That's all I got to say. They're going to get it done this year.
Yeah, I got a major sense that the PR of the New York Rangers is paying close attention to Jacked and Canned, just so they can hear John say honorable mention the New York Rangers.
No, I don't think it's Range. I think it's going to be this next bottom team here in the Pacific Division. The Seattle Kraken for sure want to be a sponsor for us because I give them a lot of love, Colbs, because that's your favorite team sitting at 17-34, 5 OTL, 39 points. Colbs are going to get it done for you next year. Sitting on top of the Pacific Division, the Flames. Central Division, the Avalanche sitting on top over there. Do you love how I moved on to that real quick so anybody new listening is going to be like, wow, poor Colbs, he's a Seattle Kraken fan.
Yeah, they probably do make that assumption because you say that every week. Anybody that doesn't know that I'm a Bruins fan, they just think that I'm a Kraken fan. Like the Kraken are not even relevant to me. I root for Tampa as a secondary team because I grew up near Tampa, but Boston is my team.
NBA standings, Colbs. Here we go. Eastern Conference. I know you have these memorized. And last year, we'd kind of go around and I'd kick it over to you and see if you can name all the teams in order. So can you do that for the first time?
I don't have it down this year the same way I did last year. Where am I starting?
Give it a shot. West. Eastern Conference.
All right. Miami's number 1.
Yep.
Chicago's number 2.
Sir.
Third is Milwaukee.
76ers. Fourth is Milwaukee.
Okay, I was going to say Philly was 4th. Okay. Ooh, wow, now it gets tough. 5th. Oh, God, John. I don't know if Charlotte's still kicking around in there. Boston, I think, has gotten a little bit hotter. Boston might be there. Let's go ahead and say the Boston's there.
So the Cavs are number 5.
Oh, yeah, the 6, Cavs.
7 Raptors. 8 is the Nets.
Yeah, I knew that the Nets are still 8th. That one I knew for sure. And I knew the Cavs were in there. I blanked on the Cavs.
And I was holding out hope for the Knicks, but the last 10 games, 1-9, they pretty much just destroyed.
Yeah, they plummeted.
Yeah. So Western Conference, Colbs, give it a stab.
Okay. Suns are 1. Warriors are 2. Believe I want to say Memphis is 3. Utah is 4.
Ooh,
Denver is 5.
Oh, no.
Oh, Dallas is 5.
Yep.
Denver 6. And then I know the Clippers are 8. Who the hell's 7? Is it Minnesota?
You got it, man. Dude, much better job with the Western Conference. Who's number 9?
Well, yeah, I look at the Western Conference more because the Lakers are 9th.
And that was a perfect segue into it. The Lakers 9, Colbs.
And I believe New Orleans is 10, by the way.
They are. The Lakers last 10 games, 3-7. Are they out of it? Like, are they not going to be in? I know me and you put a bet on them for winning it all. I feel like I should just cash out that bet now and just take the.
I mean, I was planning on talking about the Lakers tonight. If you want me to just start off my
part
of the conversation with them.
Let's go.
Okay. So the Lakers, their last 3 games, they have lost to the LA Clippers, which was, and you might remember, John, last week I told you that they had a 5-game stint that if they could pull off even 4-1 out of those, that they had some hope going into the rest of the year, because then they had to play, I think, the Warriors after the first 5 games. And then they had 3 more easy games that they could win and they could get on a real roll. They could get in there. Now, what they did is they lost to the Clippers, they lost to the Pelicans, and then they lost to the Mavericks the other night. And what it looks like to me is that LeBron has mailed it in on this season. Now, he's still making sure that he's getting some buckets, he's getting assists, he is still including teammates even, but he looks disengaged at this point. I think that LeBron has moved on from this season. I don't know necessarily because there's a lot of talk about him leaving LA. And it could happen. He's been giving compliments to GMs for other teams. He's been talking about how well constructed their rosters are. There's a lot of things that are saying that he might be moving. And I hear a lot of rumors that the Lakers might straight up trade him, which for the first time ever, that would be a recognizable thing to do. But I wouldn't be pissed if that were to be the case, because obviously they can't trade him at this point. He's a Laker for this season. But there's not a lot of career left in LeBron James, and I want to see him in winning scenarios and situations. And I don't think we're going to get that with this Lakers roster. And there's really no way to move off of this roster. You got Anthony Davis with a bunch of money, and Anthony Davis just is consistently not healthy, which is something that when this team started, I knew was the case, but I thought it could be better than it was. and than it is, and it's just simply not. And then you got a whole ton of money tied up in Russell Westbrook. And John, let me tell you, when I told you at the beginning of the season about
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook,
Yep.
I was so further than right in my
You
mind.
were.
Now, granted, I said to myself, let's give it a chance.
I
And
remember
was
we
very
talked about
hopeful.
it.
But everything that I thought was going to be the hell that this has been this hell. John, they've stopped guarding Russell Westbrook. Like, they're treating him like, do you remember when Rajon Rondo was a Celtic back in like 08, 09, that time era?
Yep.
Well, Rondo couldn't shoot. So defenders, he could have the ball by himself at the 3-point line, and defenders wouldn't come out any further than the free throw line. They'd just be like, sure, you want to take it? Go for it. Because he never made them. They started doing that to Westbrook. He's out there right now with guys standing 15 feet in front of him at all times. And they're just daring him to try to take a jumper. And in his last, or at least the 2 games prior to last night, granted, I didn't see the stats on that to see if the streak continued, but he was 0 for 7 on jump shots between the 2 games. Or no, you know what? I think that was specifically just one game against the Pelicans. And then you say, well, his ability to get to the rim. Well, now that he's aged, that also is being taken away, because in that same game that he shot 0 for 7 on jump shots, he got blocked 5 times. Yeah. So, I mean, there's no skill that this guy brings to the team that's really beneficial to the team. His defense has gotten a little bit depleted as he's gotten older. He will always give you his full effort, and I do love that about him, and I respect the hell out of the guy. He does not fit on this team at all, and there's nothing you could do, because you're not going to trade a guy worth $47 million next year that nobody wants to pay $47 million to. You're just not going to be able to move him. So I think the obvious thing for LeBron's next step, if it needs to be something that's going to get him to winning, is you got to ship him off somewhere. And there's a lot of talk that he might end up back in Cleveland, where they have a lot of young pieces that they could give up. And granted, I don't want them to ship off all the young pieces, but if they ship off, 1 or 2 of them and then some first round draft picks, you get LeBron James and some of these good young players together. There's something back in Cleveland, back at home again. And we see where that goes from there. But in the meantime, I'm just watching this team play, John, and it's nothing but frustration for me. And it's getting hurtful. Now, granted, John, there will be play-in games again this year, which I didn't actually realize until like 2 weeks ago. I've been talking apparently out of my ass about the NBA playoff format all year. I didn't realize we were doing the play-in again. I thought that was a 1-year thing. But no, evidently that's staying. So the Lakers will have a play-in game more likely than not, because that will include the 9 and 10 seeds. I don't think that they're going to drop out of that area. But I don't have any faith that they can put up a real fight. I mean, yeah, hell, even if they make the playoffs by winning the play-in game. So what, now we got to go play Phoenix or Golden State in the first round? No shot. Not at all. Phoenix has looked like the best basketball team that I have seen in a pretty long time. Well, I shouldn't say pretty long time. I would definitely say that those Golden State teams from 2016 to 2020 were
100%.
Or 2019 anyway.
Oh.
Those were really good teams.
And Colbs, I'm not the biggest basketball fan, but for everybody listening that's not a basketball fan, those years for Golden State was big, because that was all over, not just Sports Center, sports media, but like on the actual news. Like they were talking
stupid cheat code guy out there that he starts his routine at the free throw line and just progressively gets back till he's at half court, and he's just taking jumpers and none of them miss. Like, that's his routine. And he always does this thing before the game where he just takes one from like the sideline right outside of the tunnel, and it just right in. I don't understand it. It pisses me off every time I watch him. But it's greatness. It really is. I just hate him.
Dude, I feel you, man. I might tune in a little bit, only if the Lakers get in. If they don't, then I probably won't watch anything for the NBA. The only reason why I take a look at it, Colbs, is for you.
No, John, I will tell you, though, there are some fun other things in the NBA right now to pay attention to. And the first one that I'm going to bring up to you, yes, go ahead, John.
Whatever happened with the whole James Harden situation?
The first thing that we're going to talk about is the one that's not that fun, which is James Harden to Philadelphia. So, John, it's really, really good. Like, this is going to be a championship contending team. However,
wow.
they are the most boring team to watch now that I think I've ever seen in my life because all they do is get fouled and shoot free throws. Like, nobody can guard Embiid. Nobody can guard Harden on the perimeter, or if Harden just decides he wants to sprint for the bucket. Harden cares again about the game, which for him just means I'm going to get fouled a lot and occasionally hit a step back three.
All right.
And it's basically Joel Embiid and James Harden living at the free throw line, hitting. I think they've hit something ridiculous, like 35 free throws a game since Harden has moved over there as a team. It's like this is impossible to watch, but it is working out really well. So Philadelphia is going to be in there towards the end of this NBA basketball season. But John, some other fun things going on in the NBA. DeMar DeRozan, who also could be considered not that fun. This guy is somebody that plays the game like somebody from the 90s. He's not a good three-point shooter at all. It's not his character. But this guy is great in the post. He's a phenomenal jump shooter from inside the arc. And he's scoring like 28 point something points a game. He's fourth in the league in points per game right now. It's odd because technically, I guess it's not fun for what people want to watch when they see basketball because they want to see threes being launched like missiles all over the court. They want to see what that a-hole in Golden State does every night. They want to see that. I like watching DeMar DeRozan because he brings me back to a certain era when the game wasn't about just taking 3-point shots. I really like watching him play.
Hell yeah. Bring back that element, that excitement, man. I don't know. Do you feel like some people got away from the game of basketball because it's just
the whole
completely
league.
different?
Yeah. Everybody. Literally the whole league now. It's all about just, hey, where can I shoot from that looks really fun? And that's, somewhere ridiculously far away from the hoop. That's what people do now. But John, I now have who I believe will be my guys that I am watching when LeBron does finally call it quits. I think I got my two guys in line right now. So first is Dame Lillard, because I love watching that guy play, and his intensity is off the charts.
He's been around for a while.
Dame Lillard. He has, and that's why he's only going to carry me for a few years. But then this new kid, or newer kid, Ja Morant, John. Holy living hell, this kid. John, I got some highlights I got to show you, and I should have shown you these before we started recording, of a dunk and a certain weird-ass shot that he made going into the half a few nights ago. Holy shit, John. It was the most impossible shot that I've seen in a long time. And this thing just sank right in, and it was at the buzzer going into the half. And he had a dunk. Ja Morant's not really that big of a guy. He had this dunk where he basically just like launched himself. He just kind of looked at the defender as he was dribbling in, said, okay, I'm doing it. And then just launched up and slammed that shit right into the dude's mouth. Like, that was unbelievable. I couldn't believe that he just came in with that kind of ferocity on a guy that's 7 feet tall. Ja Morant is fun. I don't give a shit if he doesn't win a title.
Is he new? Is he a rookie? What's up with him?
Wilkins. I want to say this is it's either second or third year. I think I'm actually leaning third year, but he is really coming to life. And there's a lot of talk that he's going to win MVP. And a lot of people are probably thinking I'm doing this a little bit on recency bias because he's now come up in these conversations. But I've gotten to pay more attention to him. And I'm actually watching Memphis Grizzlies basketball right now, which I don't think I've done actually my whole life outside of when they've been in the playoffs with Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol both playing in the post across from each other. Like, that's the last time that Memphis had anything, and that was a boring-ass team to watch. This is fun. And I honestly don't know most of Memphis's guys. Like, these are all guys that as I'm tuning into these games, I'm like, I don't know who that is. I mean, there's a couple of names here and there that I know, but it's a team of people that I'm not super familiar with, but Ja Morant is so special and fun to watch that I don't care. Like, I just want to watch him. And they win. I mean, look at them. They're the third seed in the West right now.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, I might have to give it a look then, Colbs. I might have to give it a little peek, I guess. We'll see. Only if the Knicks get in too, I guess. I don't know. It's all dependent on me for the Lakers and the Knicks. Doesn't look good.
All right, John. So we've got you got something.
You know what else doesn't look good? The MLB.
What?
Delaying the season. Spring training practically
canceled.
I know you're not a big baseball fan, but
what am I going to do?
it's not good for the baseball fans out there. All those people that had their plans at their Florida homes when they leave Connecticut and they leave Massachusetts and New Hampshire, all these New England states, and they go down to Florida and they're like, yeah, we're going to be at our house for spring training. Well, spring training's canceled. So they might as well just start coming back up north even sooner, dude.
I mean,
I don't know.
Maybe this will just mean more people will come to my softball games because they miss baseball so much. I don't know.
You know what? Maybe now's the time for men's softball and women's softball to take off and just take over the MLB.
Hey, I mean, I've lost another 10 pounds since softball ended. So at this point, maybe I'm going to be good again.
You know what? Dude, it just seems like football's really taking over everything. Now you got fan controlled football, USFL, XFL, NFL. It's like it's only going to be football, and you're not going to have baseball is going to be like non-existent. I don't know how basketball's doing in the ratings. I have no clue.
Basketball's doing well. Basketball will be hanging in there. The three things that people really love right now in sports, in America anyway, is the NFL, college football, and the NBA. They really don't care much about anything else. Obviously, there's certain groupings of people that love MLB. There's certain groupings of people that love the NHL, even less than baseball. And you do get a pretty good turnout for some of these UFC events. But
that's true. That's true.
And I guess NASCAR's got its own thing going on too. I mean, NASCAR does have a following for sure.
A big following. Not up here where we are. I wouldn't say. I mean, I could be completely wrong.
No, I'd have to side with you there. It was much more popular where I was growing up than it is here. So, John, reports came out that the Dolphins had been looking to, prior to these retirements, they had been planning to go after getting coach Sean Payton from the New Orleans Saints and quarterback Tom Brady from the Tampa Bay Bucks. The Dolphins were looking to really ball out this offseason, and then both guys retired.
That's just bad luck for the Dolphins right there. But I don't know. Tom Brady's still in the headlines. They're saying that he might be coming back still. Like, are we ever really going to know? Like, the season can start.
Here's the funny thing, John. Tom Brady's been interested in taking just very little minority ownership part of the Miami Dolphins, evidently for years. And as he was reached out to about it this particular offseason, he didn't buy in just because he's still uncertain if he's coming back or not, and he can't be owning and playing.
Oh boy.
I just find it funny. Like, there's so many things that have come out that Tom Brady's just not for sure done. And it makes you wonder if he's just going to take a year and then say, okay, here we go, 7 more.
It's, you know what? It'll be like how regular people have their jobs. You take a leave or sabbatical, call it. Maybe Tom Brady is just I need a little sabbatical real quick, and he'll be back. Yeah, dude, it's possible he takes a year off. Who knows? Who freaking knows? Colbs, something completely random. I noticed that you mentioned UFC. Did you get a chance to hear what's going on in the headlines with Cain Velasquez?
Yeah, I did actually. Wow.
Wow.
The the man's got balls.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't really have a whole lot to say on that other than just, simply wow.
Yeah, ladies and gents, if you don't know, go ahead, just type it in on your search engine. It'll come up with a whole bunch of results. But I don't know what to say other than wow. I mean, I understand it, I guess, but holy crap, I don't know what's in line. Yes, yeah, we might have to transition. What else we got? Just wow, that's a good way to sum it, man.
No, absolutely, John. I've got here. Part of Greg Rosenthal put out a list of the top 101 free agents for the NFL offseason, which he does every year. This is something that is always kind of fun and cool to look at.
Now, who's on top on that list? Tom Brady, of course.
Yeah, it should be. Who's on top in Greg Rosenthal's top 101 free agents this offseason?
I love it.
Is Devontae Adams, wide receiver, Green Bay Packers.
Oh, he's a free agent?
Yeah, evidently. So, and I have heard a lot of things about if Aaron Rodgers
Wow.
goes somewhere that this might be a package deal where you're not getting just Aaron Rodgers, but you're also bringing in Devontae Adams, his favorite receiver over the last 5 years.
Yeah, fair enough.
So he's number one. I think that's actually, when I looked at this list, I do think that's a pretty solid number one to have. I looked around and there were a couple other names that I thought might be who I would place at number one, but considering the age and just how good Devontae Adams at least has looked, and granted, in part, I don't know how much of it is just that Aaron Rodgers is so good that he makes his number one guy look that good. Because when you think back, I mean, like Greg Jennings looked amazing under Aaron Rodgers. And then when he went over to Minnesota, you barely heard about him again. When Jordy Nelson, when he left there and went to Oakland, he disappeared off the face of the earth. So I don't know how good Devontae Adams may or may not be, but considering what we've seen, I would think that this is a good place to put him. Number two was Chris Godwin, wide receiver, Tampa Bay Bucks.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, it is, because I feel like the Bucks are just losing everybody. Brady retires, their right guard retired.
Gronk,
so
probably.
Gronk's probably going to retire, and if not, he might just go play somewhere else too because he's Gronk. Gronk, by the way, on this list was number 32.
Okay.
Yeah, which I think makes sense at this point. He's a great blocking tight end, if nothing else. Some other names that I thought you'd find interesting with me. Number 9 was Chandler Jones, who I believe is one of the top pass rushers of the last decade. So I was actually a little surprised that he was as low as he was. I would have probably had him higher on this list, but he is 32 years old. John, I knew you would like this one. Odell Beckham Jr., number 18. So Odell Beckham Jr., and you know, we're going to get to see, because even though he didn't look incredibly impressive until he hit LA, he did look very impressive in LA. So we're going to see what that does for him moving forward, because we also do know that when he's on a roster that doesn't fit him well, like Cleveland, he doesn't do a whole lot. So I do think that this is a fair place to rank him, but with a tremendous potential upside.
Yeah.
Especially dependent on the team. I got on there, number 21, Dwayne Brown, my left tackle. No, he's not that good anymore. He's coming off his worst year, and he's 37 years old. I think he turns 38 before next year starts. Dwayne Brown cannot be the 21st ranked guy on this list. It's just not feasible.
You still like him, though. You appreciate all the
he did a hell of a job for us for years. He was our only offensive lineman for like 4 years. Now, number 37 on this list is Quandre Diggs, who is a Seahawks safety and who should be higher on this list than Dwayne Brown. Quandre Diggs has a nose for the football. He just made his first Pro Bowl this year. We can't say the same for Dwayne Brown at 36 years old last year.
Right.
So when I look at this, I think that Quandre Diggs is severely underrated on this list, particularly. Not that I think that he should be a top 10 guy, but I do think that he should be probably in the top 20, if nothing else. And I don't think that Dwayne Brown should be anywhere near there. John, I've got at number 39, Marcus May, who I just wanted to bring up. He's a safety for the Jets. And even though not everybody knows who this guy is, he's pretty good at playing safety. Like he's somebody that I would say is one of the upper echelon safeties in the league. Granted, the Jets don't have a whole ton of talent, so you don't look at that team and go, oh my God, I know everybody on that team. No, you don't, but you should know Marcus May. He's a good safety. Now, John, I had to do this one for you. James Conner is on this list.
Yes.
He's number 60.
Yes.
So he's significantly further back than the other guys that I've mentioned thus far. So James Conner is not well sought after, according to Greg Rosenthal. Number 67 is my running back, Rashad Penny. So,
okay.
I actually don't disagree with it, because he has not proven that he can stay healthy. And even though I have become hopeful for him again, I don't think that if I was making this list that I would have had him any higher.
Does Seattle bring him back?
I think they do. I don't know what else they're going to do unless they're planning on using one of their 3 draft picks on a running back. But I think they have to bring him back and at least see. Number 9 on this list, or number 89 on this list is safety for the New England Patriots, Devin McCourty. I thought that was really low.
That's random. Yeah,
Devin McCourty's been really good for like a decade. I get it that he's not like the youngest guy on on an NFL roster at this point, but Devin McCourty's never really had a bad season, and he's often had good ones. I thought that 89 was just far too low for him. And then, John, to round out this list, also at number 100, Patriot linebacker Dante Hightower, who also has been really good. I don't understand what they're doing with the Pats defense, where they got these guys ranked so far down.
I don't think he's a Pats fan.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I got to see who Craig Rosenthal thinks, who he roots for, because clearly he's like a Jets fan and he's miserable or something.
He's got to be a Jets fan. So who's last?
Actually, no, he can't be, because he's got Marcus May too low. He's got to be a Bills or a Dolphins fan.
Did you say it's 101? So who's last on the list?
I think it was 101. It might have been 100. I wrote down 100. Dante Hightower. If there was somebody after him, I didn't write it down.
Was it Preston Williams? Maybe.
I was looking on there to see if PJ Walker was going to fall onto this list somewhere, but he wasn't.
He's signed. He's
that's right. He's already signed. Yep, good point.
He's
John.
Good. He's there. Like, he'll be a staple forever there, probably.
I was keeping an eye out for him, and I was keeping an eye out for Jameis Winston, who I found that Jameis Winston, I think, was 23 on the list.
What about Cam?
He did not make the list.
All right, fair enough. Curious to see if he lands on a roster this year. Probably not. Maybe. It all depends, because Carolina, that whole thing that happened, it just fell apart.
Yeah, just like a snap, just bang, it's all done. You were a Super Bowl team. Now you're not. Now you're not even close. Now you're never coming back. Now Christian McCaffrey, who looked promising, all of a sudden is injury prone. Just nothing going in Carolina right now. I feel kind of bad for Panthers fans. Because it's not for lack of trying. They've done some things out there to try to gain something. And I mean, it's not a terrible roster. It's really not. But they haven't been able to get the right players in there, specifically at the quarterback position.
I'd like to see Cam go somewhere, though, and have a little bit of success, even if he's
a backup. I wouldn't be shocked if he's a backup somewhere. I mean, I think that he's somebody that could be considered a backup in the league 100%. Still.
Or run like the Wildcat, because every freaking time he's within 10 yards, he's going to score a touchdown. The dude is a freaking linebacker.
Well, except for that one time that he had the ball on the 1 and couldn't get it in against the Seahawks last year.
Yeah, well, there you go. Fair enough. Set by a Seattle fan, a Seattle Kraken and a Seattle Seahawks fan. I had to. You set that one up perfect, Coles. What else do we got before we wrap up the roundtable tonight?
Well, we are going to go ahead and get out of here. I want to make sure we leave time for the regular episode, but I do want to make sure that we explain to the audience something. John and I have no bleeping clue when that's going to be. We're going to do it sometime between now and Sunday, and it won't be tomorrow. That's what we've gathered so far. We know that we have to have it out and published, even for you podcast listeners, by Sunday, because on, I believe, Monday, we re-up our time. So we don't want to lose time this month of recording. So it will be done and uploaded. But as far as when, John and I have way too much going on between work and evidently I actually have a full weekend of plans, which I don't know the last time I've had.
That's a good thing, Cole.
I'm actually doing something on both Saturday night and like all day Sunday. And I'm like, whoa, what the hell is that? I don't know the last time I've had 2 days straight of plans.
That's good. All right, man. Well, hey, we're going to get it out to you, ladies and gents. Subscribe, rate, review. We'll be back at you with another regular episode coming up here soon over the next couple of days. Colbs, shut it down.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been